Unfortunately, you can't crack the top
I know.
to your soda again, or your beverage. So this is our second attempt at going live. Everyone, Anish cracked a top of a can so perfectly right into the microphone, right at and it didn't work, didn't go live. So I guess it just means you need to open another one.
And we'll see if we're live now. I don't know. We're gonna see.
We'll do it live.
But we'll do it live. I think this time it actually did work. So
It's the
that's
World
nice.
Sports Handsome Hour. It's uh, Jay and Anish, and Boiler Dowd is perhaps joining us later. And Greg McManus says hello. So apparently we're live this time successfully. That's good. It
Part two,
is.
you guys, we did so much in part one,
It
the
was
one
so
that
good.
didn't go
We
live.
solved everything.
Yeah, we did. We with like what to do
A
after
lot of
something like
observations.
this. We made some jokes. It was great. We put a full X's and O's
We
plan
made hair
together.
jokes about Boiler Down.
It's great, and none of it saw the light of day. And so
No,
now we're just,
no.
now we're doing this again. So if any errors happen, it's just because we're fatigued at this
That's
point
right.
from the
That's right.
hour that we've
It's hard to
already
do an
done.
hour and then do it all again and sound just as sharp. It is a it is a World Sports Handsome Hour. We've been off for we haven't been off. Boiled Down's churning out the content. Been 2 weeks since we were here. It's been 2 weeks since Purdue football played a game. It appears, and worst shellacking in program history, I think, is what I keep hearing. I think
I
Coach
don't.
Walters said that.
That seems ridiculous,
It
doesn't it?
does seem not like that should be the case, doesn't it?
It's
You're off the hook, Coach Hazel. You
on
are off
many
the hook.
in many ways, but I feel like I remember worse ones. But maybe also it was like that was in the doldrums of the program. It was
You
never.
remember worse ones? I like this. I like that we're getting right into this because you and I have had some debate over the last 24 hours where you
I
have
no, so
suggested
I
that
can
we
say I remember feeling worse. I remember.
how
Oh yeah,
how could
because
you feel worse than what happened on Saturday?
the it was a loss. It was sudden. There were expectations. Somehow, the empty when there is like when there are zero people in Rossade, when we were making the nobody comes into Rossade jokes,
That's better.
and they let down. Yeah, it was complete. Like that to me, is better. And so like to me,
No.
I don't
What?
like.
No. If that's better, then this is worse. Correct. I'm now
No,
with
no, no.
you.
That's like that's higher on the
More
misery
depressing?
scale.
No, no, no. And here's why. I walked in there. First of all, tailgating, everybody was amped. Purdue fans were excited. A lot of Purdue fans felt good about this game, which is hard to imagine right now. It's just like when you think about pre-COVID and how nobody did Zoom, and now it's all you know. You don't know anything other than that. I know it's been only a few days, but on like Thursday and Friday, people were like, I don't know, there's a chance Purdue could win this game. You saw Notre Dame. No, don't shake your head. You know people were thinking this.
And
Purdue.
the
I have
line
the
got
floor. I
like
have the floor. Purdue fans were thinking, "Wow, they just lost. This Purdue team looks pretty good." They were thinking there's hope. The vibe at tailgating was good. You go into the stadium, and yeah, there were a lot of Notre Dame fans there. Quite a few, honestly. And I remember getting to our seats and looking up and thinking, "Man, it
no,
is
hold on.
filled to the top
And to
at
support your
kickoff."
thing, the line went from 10.5 down to 7.5 points
Well,
to Notre Dame.
yeah, that's just betting, but yes, yes.
I
So
mean, but that's like the vibe of the like
right, all
the
good. And then Purdue did. There's no way that could have gone any worse. I
yeah
suppose there could have been fatalities. I guess
yeah
that would have been worse. But
sinkhole
what's that?
sinkhole.
Right, a meteorite hitting the stadium, like that could have been worse. But really, football wise, I don't think it could possibly have gone any worse than it did. And that's my point with all this. And I got
This
you
is
over
true.
here
Yes.
arguing with me over the last day that, well, I don't know. I don't know if we know. I think your answer to me was we don't have all the evidence yet. We don't have enough
We'll talk.
data.
We'll hash it out here.
Oh,
We'll
yes.
hash it out
Oh,
here.
you don't want to get into that right away?
We'll
I
hash it
think
out.
let me talk about the good. Let me talk about the good because it'll be the shorter part of this conversation.
Yeah,
It was great to see
it's
a
great.
lot of you.
Yeah,
I got to see you, which
I know we see each
that's
other. It's fine.
so. The whole Boiler Dowd clan. Uh, I got to see Greg McManus. I got to see Dylan. I got to see our friends at AJ's. It was great. I got to see 60,000 of you in the stadium. You didn't all see me, but I saw you. It was great. It was great. That part was fun. Shouts to AJ's, which we frequented more than once. Um, you will never go wrong. Just go there, eat, drink, be merry.
Mm.
It was funny when we went in there. We got in there before the game fully was over, right? And they had the Purdue game on every television at 66-7. And someone goes, "Can we turn one of these to something else?
Can we put on TBS? I'm pretty sure Star Wars is on
Titanic
TBS.
may be
one
on.
of them. Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure Rush Hour is on. Can we watch that
That's
instead?
right. Or the Shawshank Redemption.
Exactly.
Something is predictably is on. Right.
Another positive. I mean, like, it was sunny to me. That's a positive. Maybe a little too sunny for some folk out there, but it was sunny.
We're going to play the white guy, brown guy game? Is that what we're going to do?
It was good weather for the
I'm fine. Do I look like I'm affected? I was fine.
No, you are. You spend most of your life in tropical climates. We know
That's
this.
true. I'm in the sun most of the time.
Exactly.
That's right. I've got this lamp on me right now just to simulate the sun. That's
and it was a 3:30 game. 3:30 games, and let's get into this.
I will tell you, maybe it was just the most recent experience of a 3:30 game. I didn't love it as much as I have in the past. Now I like it, like in theory, because you can see a little bit of the noon games. You have plenty of tailgating time. The game is not late, so you can watch the later games if you want. It is perfect in that sense. Maybe it was the experience of that.
I think it was
day.
just the game.
And being a million degrees. And they said on the radio it was the third, I don't know how they track this, the third hottest game in Ross-Ade Stadium history. I guess
you
it's
don't
maybe
know how they
temperature
track this? You
at
know
kickoff? I don't know.
Yeah, you know that we can measure temperature. We have ways.
I just mean, how do you determine? Because it said 88 on my phone when we were there. It felt like 98. It was
a hot 88. Like, it was like no sun, no clouds. Like,
baking you the entire time. Whew.
It was.
At least it was nice and hot in there. That was the best. At least they ran out of ice. That was also great. Good job, Ross-Ade.
There was a great Boiler Down line on one of his quick casts, which you should all be watching.
Definitely. They've been good. They've been very good.
Which was like, at least nobody cramped, because it's not like they were working too hard out there. And I was like, oh, man. That's me.
That was good. That was good. Nobody sprinted very hard, so there was no cramping issues. Oh, man.
I know. So that was the good. It was awesome. And I think that actually, I mean, like, not to get more philosophical about this, but I put so much more emotional energy within the product in Purdue basketball. And so it's like, when the product is bad, it's also not like there are tailgating days, an entire day of the week dedicated to Purdue basketball games, unless it's the tournament, which, like, yeah, that completely ruins it, right? Like, but that's really the only thing where Purdue basketball is kind of set up this way. For me, like, Purdue football, so much more of it is the experience of going, because we're not local, and so, like, the games that we go to, like, it's a lot of fun to go there and tailgate and be with people and all of this, and that was great. And so to me, and the fact that, and we'll talk about this, it was early in the season. And I was actually, we had messaged, we didn't do a podcast last week, but I had mentioned to you, I thought Notre Dame was going to be angry, and Notre Dame, like, it was going to be kind of a blowout, and not like, this is not what I was expecting. This is not what I was expecting. But I did think that, like, you know, we're kind of catching like, there is no surprising them. They're going to be sharp. Now, where I was wrong, is that I don't think that it was a angry Notre Dame team at all. Like, I think they didn't, we've talked about this. They didn't show anything special. They didn't show anything flashy. They literally just did not make they pitched a
mistake-free game,
high floor, low ceiling, perfect game. They didn't miss a single tackle. They didn't take a single risk. They made every single tackle. They've hit every gap. I think the only one that they missed was the one that set up the pass that set up the touchdown, like, eventually. I've always said we're a third quarter team. But it's not like they showed up visibly angry. They were just disciplined. They were just disciplined and ready to go and not messing around. And it was their get right game, right? Like, as much as it sucks,
like, when they get right team.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. If you have a, bad week, like, what happens? Just play Purdue and you can get right. Like, that's the old days, right?
That's the issue I have with this, is that I don't care. I do care if you lose, but I did not expect to win either. My 14-year-old son was very excited at the prospect of Notre Dame's fallible. They can be beaten. Yeah, they can. And did I go in thinking it was impossible for Purdue to win? No. But my going into it was thinking their offense isn't very good. They're going to score 20 to 25 points, something in there. And the question is, can Purdue get more than that against the good defense? And I thought, I mean, they could, but I said no. I saw like a 23-16 annoying kind of a loss is what I expected. And then, and again, while a loss isn't what you want, there are losses where you can take something away and say, well, all right, they went toe to toe with a pretty good team, or they hung in there, or they won a couple quarters, or they looked really good for 40% of the game. This game, Purdue looked worse than an FCS school. That's my issue with this. And that's when you say, well, Notre Dame was going to be focused and there was no winning this game. I'm not debating that. I have a big issue with looking like you're Indiana State or looking like you're Western Illinois. I think that is embarrassing is the word. It's embarrassing.
There were no phases of the game. I mean, I know we make the punter joke, but like there were no phases of the game where Purdue looked good. And so that also is kind of my
Isn't that inexcusable though?
No. It's the solace in the rest of the season that I'm taking, right? Not there's nothing.
It can't be this bad again, is what
exactly.
You're saying.
There's nothing redeemable from that performance, right? It's at home. You have a full stadium.
Wait.
Everybody is ready. You still have all of this,
and you still shit the bed like that. Anish, let me. Yeah. So far, your points in this high-minded debate that we're having, which I like. This feels a little bit like a presidential debate. Just the two highest, one smart person and one person who talks about eating dogs.
Let's just wait until Ross Perot enters the wait until Jill Stein enters the podcast.
So far you've said everything was great except the football on Saturday.
Correct.
And you said, well, it can't be this terrible again.
Correct.
It's not possible to get any lower.
It's not
possible. These are what you're building on.
Yes.
I would just like to Okay.
Correct. So it is there is no redeeming this game. You have to be more competitive than that. I actually think, and I know that there were some complaints about this, I actually thought Boiler Dowd was really friendly about the way that he had kind of reacted in the like both of the quick casts. I think the offense, and I am a Graham Harrell defender. I thought air raid is a great prescription for Purdue. It is time to straight up call him out every week. I am like, and I know to me the first season it is like it's still too early to really know, and unless you're Bob Diaco, like after one season, like it really has to be a disaster to do this. It isn't the fact that the offense is a disaster. It's that the only time there was a sign of life was at the end of last season when they were just like, we don't have many games to go. Let's just throw Hudson out there and let's kind of not unleash him, but
no, but the season's kind of lost already. There's no bowl game coming.
Let's increase his leash. We are through the first season. We know what we've got. We know the program that we have. We know the roster that we have. Let's just let Hudson do this. And that was the best he looked all year, right? I mean, like going down the stretch of the last, 4 games of last year, 3 of which he played, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the best that this offense has looked. So far, I actually am not very thrilled with what we showed at Indiana State. But then also, I mean, there's nothing redeemable about the game, against Notre Dame. And here we have the expert, the one, the only
friend of the program,
Boiler Dowd.
Hi. How are we?
We're fine.
And once again, he is twice as loud as you.
I know. I'm adjusting the levels, but we're fine. We're fine. So my bigger.
You're so far away. And so loud. And Anisha's right here.
I know. I'm trying, people.
This is good. I'm glad we've got this. Another 10 or 15 years, guys, and this will have this down.
I blame the provider.
It sounds so crisp. It's so good.
It is.
We all sounded like you. Then we could just turn it down a little, and we'd be perfect.
There's no mixing board, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm trying the mixing board. We're gonna figure it out here, but
here, I'll just do this. I'm way far away now.
That's a little better, but
it's still loud.
So
that's okay. You're not very loud. You're pretty.
Yeah, we'll do it on the fly.
I'm gonna see if I can do something on my end. Keep going.
But my
gonna be
point
fine.
here is like we don't. So a lot of the big reaction, which I completely understand, is that this is a lost season. This is a lost coaching staff. Like we're already seeing, and even this is a little bit early, even for me. We're already seeing the coaching lists and the what do we do wins, and it's like, guys, like it's not going to happen this year. It's not happening this year. It's like no,
I don't know that it's not happening this year.
I don't
I'm
know
not
about
calling
that
for
either.
it. I'm not calling for it.
No,
Oh,
you're
but-
not. None of us are. But
No.
If Purdue
but-
goes 10-2 and 10,
Mm.
I think it might happen.
I
think it
don't-
I
could
really
happen.
do.
I don't know, but it's early for that, right? Is
It
my
is.
point.
What it's gonna is? Am I any better?
You're
Am I
good.
level
You're
better?
good. You're good.
Okay, good.
Don't
I had
worry
to
about
adjust something on this side. So I think it all comes down to what's happening with season ticket sales, with ticket sales in general, with donors. Like
Season
that
ticket sales
vibe.
are very solid for this year.
that's perfect for this
But
They
year.
are.
it's-
No,
yeah,
they
it's-
are.
I mean, it's
they're
the
really good.
It's
They
full.
sold out. Yeah,
Right.
sold out most games.
Since
Yeah, they're.
2008 or something, right?
But man, that is. I know what you're talking about. That teeters fast.
But
Like-
so to me,
Yep.
so
Yeah,
to
real
me,
fast.
though,
A couple weekends
I
like this, man.
I understand the reaction because literally nothing went well except for like all the camaraderie, except for what we brought. I think the fans were good, right? It was great. The friends we made along the way went really well. And
So far, well, now I'll catch you up. His two points so far have been everything but the football was fun this weekend, and it can't possibly get worse than this. Which actually, I would argue it can because
It could, and
Ohio
there are
State
ways.
and Oregon could hang 100 on.
no. So, but Purdue will. I don't think Purdue will be as inept, like entirely.
because it doesn't
There
seem
is
possible. I
Not a
understand.
single good thing. This is about the worst that Purdue can play.
No,
I
it's
think-
literally the worst.
Like,
It's
this is
literally
It's
like-
the worst.
So you would be this
It's
again.
the worst.
Yeah, exactly. This would
Yeah.
be it would be this again. And so against Oregon and Ohio State, which yeah, maybe Ohio State looks so good. But like the other part of this is that it's so early to start those conversations, not necessarily early in the tenure, though I would argue that, but it's early in the year. Where I was talking about when we were talking about, not having enough data is that we don't know what all of a sudden, Boiler Dowd's prediction of the Oregon State game being the most pivotal game of the season, I wasn't buying it in the offseason. And now that we're here, it couldn't be kind of more spot on. The Oregon State game, if you think about what had happened, what started the story arc of Notre Dame's season. They started off with a really, really good kind of potentially season-defining win, going to Texas A&M and beating them there, just doing so in Marcus Freeman fashion, just bludgeoning them to death. And then they lost at Northern Illinois, and then they played their get-right game against Purdue. What it looks like is setting up to happen is a complete kind of redemption arc story where Notre Dame is going to end up in the playoff again, and they're going to lose in the first round of the playoff, but they will get right for the rest of the season, and they will look fine. Their defense will look good, and they'll be fine.
I'm waiting for this to make me feel better, but keep going.
Meanwhile,
I'm sure you get
but
there.
here's the setup. I mean, meanwhile, Purdue played the first game, completely uneventful. Indiana State, nothing really can be taken, and I think that's pretty much what we said there. Nothing bad, but it is what it is. It's Indiana State, and had our version of that NIU loss, right? Even worse than that, but anyway, it's like a potentially season-ending loss. You now either have your get-right game, where you go on the road to Oregon State, you look better in every facet of the game, every facet of play. Linebackers look like they know what they're doing. The pass rush gets some kind of pressure. Hudson Card has a little bit more time. The receivers are much
Anytime.
more reliable, like anything. And
That's the
you get your get right.
Sometime.
You get your get right game on the road against a power 4 peer.
power two.
I don't power two,
The Pac
whatever.
two. No,
But
but
I
that's,
would
I get what you mean. They're a major conference.
They're a
I posted that on Twitter, by the way, the power rankings for the Pac-2.
I loved it. I love it so much. They're last or they're
They're
second.
or second. They're second.
You should just
Or last.
and then any week where they both win, you just do 1 parentheses tie.
Exactly. 1B.
They're just so
Yeah.
good.
So,
But the other option,
you're still going?
right, really quickly,
You
the
let me
other
know if it's my
option,
turn.
but the other option is if Purdue
Hello.
has their
A little
Purdue
quick.
has their version of that NIU loss, the worst one of the worst statistical losses in the history of the program, and then goes to Oregon State
The worst,
and either
not one of
loses a sloppy one or gets depantsed. And that is where potentially the bottom could fall.
Is that where
out.
Anish comes off the train? Is that where Anish?
But to me, it's like that's when you know. I don't know what this team is yet, right?
No.
Because it can't possibly be that bad, right? There was nothing. Can none of the players
Wait a
play?
minute. You're a scientist. What do you mean? You just
Yeah,
saw
wait a second.
and have a ton of evidence that
No,
they are
we-
that bad.
No, we have one data. That's the thing. We
4
have one
quarters
data point. It
or
isn't.
600 yards of evidence. Now, fine. If you want to take, okay, I'll take. If you're going to say, oh, it's 1/12 of a season, I have 1/12 of the evidence I need to judge a team. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I do think. What I said to my son was, can you think of a team, any Purdue team in history, or any team that you've followed with any regularity, whether it's at the pros or college, that had a decent season, okay, finished the year where you were like, okay, not a bad year, decent season, and you were able to say, but remember that time they got their asses kicked by 59 points? No. A team that's decent, the team that has a good season, never looks back and says, oh, but remember when we lost 66-7? Wasn't that funny right before we ripped off 6 in a row? 2 in a row? It doesn't. It would be such a incredible 180 to come back from losing 66-7 and look really good. Now, if they look really good this week, then that's definitely a point. That's a point towards the point you're making. That's credit towards the point you're making.
But even if they look bad, to me that is the data point. Like there is another data point there, right?
Well, if they look bad against a pretty mediocre team as well as a really good one, then you start to get worried. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, you've got data
Extremely?
now. Like to me, you've got 1 point makes a data point. 2
There always
points.
has to be a positive, optimistic one here, and I'm glad that I'm glad that even after that, one of us still has that ability to say, not ready to jump off the bandwagon yet.
But it is just like it's game, it's game 2, and here's the thing: so
look at these comments. Hold on, I must interrupt. Anish.
Yeah.
Cobra says Anish has been spot on all night so
I'm
far.
the
Motor
best.
City Boiler says Anish is always spot on. Are you guys huffing something? What do you mean Anish is always spot on?
I am, and I
Let him-
control.
He just
And I
talks
control the
lulls you
board,
into,
and so
after
I
a
will
while,
just
he
put
sounds so authoritative that you're like, he is a doctor. He does seem to know what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
you don't always have to know what you're saying. You just
Right,
have
he
to sound like you know what you're saying.
Right. He just sounds really
Sounds-
smart.
I also control the production here, so Cobra's comment is just going to stay up for the rest of the show.
Yes, and there was one a little further back where the Gummy Bear King of Chicago took a shot at me. He said, hold on, where is it? I'm scrolling back trying to find it. He said, Shirley J Money has some, but no, that's not it. That's something else. That's another money comment, you freaking idiots. He said J Money is wrong on everything he says, period.
What? Man.
No, but my thing is like,
We gotta-
I'd like to fight you,
so what also makes this feel bad, and Boiler Dad talked about this, is that IU is looking really good. Or no, there was a great word. Somebody used
they did, and we knew they're shitty, but they really controlled them.
Somebody used was it solid, or was it, there was a word that somebody described IU, which was like they have an
Organized.
identity. Organized. That's it. They look.
I know who they are.
Well,
organized, clear identity.
Netty's going to be like Hope, high energy, kind of mouthy, beats the crap out of bad teams.
I could see that.
Right? And
I think I can take that if that's the case. I think they're better than that.
I don't know. I mean,
I wish I didn't. You know, I felt a couple weeks ago.
I don't think they're. I think they're better.
It's hard. It's hard to go across the country and look that sharp, in my opinion.
I think UCLA is that bad, but yeah,
I think they are bad.
I think they're the worst team in the Big Ten.
Well, not in my bottom 4 power rankings.
I heard that. I also disagree.
I think you would agree Purdue earned it this week.
Oh, Purdue definitely earned it this week.
They're 18.
Oh yeah, I mean, like if we've earned anything this week, it's that.
Yeah.
So it's like we need another data point to me, and the perfect actually one is next week. If next week was Oregon, if next week was Ohio State, I don't know how useful that would be.
That's fair.
Power conference peer on the road, I guess. I mean, like that's after playing 2 home
harder.
games in a bye week, like
Harder.
that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
But this is a really, really good day. Like what we
Well-
will get on Saturday is a really good data point.
And
for what this
I'll
team
give
is.
Boiler Dad credit because before the season, he said Oregon State game is critical. Is the whole season hinges on that as far as how you will feel about the season. And
I
do you look right about that right now? Because if
Completely
they
agree.
won big, now you wouldn't excuse the Notre Dame loss, but you'd say, all right,
Okay, the ship's
right.
righted. Yeah.
Okay,
It
they're
was
going
an
to beat some
anomaly.
teams.
Yeah.
I'm back to thinking 4 or 5 wins is possible. Right. Because you'd be at 2 already. If you're 2-1, and someone else said this to me in our circle, if you're 2-1 heading into conference play, well, that's probably what you sort of hoped for at the start of the season.
I would say for me, that was best case scenario.
Right. Right. Because
So-
if they beat Notre Dame, they would have lost to Oregon State. There's no
Right.
doubt that that's what was
Right.
So-
yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, like, and this puts the after it's the Ohio State game. So same thing it's the Notre Dame kind of redemption.
Read
arc.
Mr. Metz.
Put
Which
Matt's
one's
comment
Matt's?
up.
That's
please.
That's
The
a
nice
great
thing about
comment.
being in the basement is that you usually have your own TV down there. That's
Good point. That's a good
That's
point.
like something we'd put on a shirt. That's really good.
That's really
in
very
Pittsburgh,
good.
what they have is called a Pittsburgh pot. Do you guys know about that? I think J Money knows.
I
the
know about it.
Pittsburgh
I've
pot.
used it.
So
Oh, it's just a
but
toilet sitting in the middle of the room,
It's
isn't it?
literally just
Yes.
a toilet. It's a toilet in the room.
I've
You
seen it
explained
one
this to me,
time.
that the miners or coal miners would come in and they'd be so covered in dirt that they'd just take everything off and take a dump. And
It's so good. There's usually a drain down there where you can
hose yourself
Hose off or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so we used to have a Pittsburgh. I don't know, Jay, if you ever
I've seen it
saw,
finished. You finished
if-
up the bathroom. I've been
You
there.
so you saw our
get
actual
everything.
half
You hit your
bathroom
head
down there.
and-
That
Yes.
used to be just a Pittsburgh pot.
I know.
It was freeing. I miss it.
And he should go to the basement just for some alone time.
It's just
Just in a
going to my
cavernous,
garage.
dank basement on a toilet.
How dare you? It's not dank. It is.
Well,
you
back
know,
then it was when it was
it's-
unfinished.
it's got some dew sometimes.
Moisture.
Was it all?
It's good
was
for
it
your
all?
nasal
It was
passage.
all cinder block basement, pretty much.
Oh yeah, but now
Yeah.
it's half finished, and so it's like now you can still, but it's like a bathroom now. It's all boring.
Civilized.
Yeah, in the basement
Doesn't
now.
feel like you're in a castle anymore. I know.
But
I
in
get it.
in the Purdue basement, we've got the Pittsburgh pot, and we've got a nice TV down there, hooked up to an aux cable that is like hanging from the ceiling. You know, one of those that snakes from the
I've
upper
said-
rooms.
Nice.
Since I've been married with kids, I have said, how people dream of putting up like a detached garage with something or a finished basement. I would like a soundproof room that I can go to that is really just a bathroom. I want my own toilet where no one can bother me. Is that too much to
Is
ask?
that soundproof to help you or them?
so no one can bother me. It's really
It's where he's
bad.
podcasting from. It's for the sound quality.
I do everything in there. You grow up and you aspire to have a family and a big house, and then you get those things, and you're like, now I just want a little place to myself. I kind of want. My own
I saw
apartment.
one of the coolest things. You guys probably seen this, but we looked at a house a couple years ago that had a master closet, good sized master closet, and had a door out of the back of the master closet that had like a room that I was like, "There's my office."
like a panic room.
Yeah, well, you have to go through the closet to get to my office. I'm like,
It's
I love
basically
it.
a hidden. You just put a big picture over the door
Exactly.
or a bookshelf.
Be gone.
I looked at a house
Love
that had a hidden room. It was like in a study. There was a set of bookshelves in the house designed with a bookshelf
Whoa.
that's opened up into another
Whoa!
room.
Why the hell didn't you buy that?
It was in Texas when we were down there. It was so cool.
Man,
That's a
It
real
was
Texas
so
thing
cool.
to do.
yeah, I want that.
Oh, it was so cool. I love
Boiler
it. I think
Dad
they use it
couldn't
as
have
gym
a
or
secret
something.
room behind a bookshelf because it's like a bookshelf in this house.
He doesn't have books.
That's
That
the
doesn't
Bat
read.
Cave. Is he Batman?
Exactly.
Oh, all right. So everything was bad. That's the thing that I just can't.
Yeah.
It wasn't just people go, oh, offense and defense. It was even things like receivers dropping balls thrown right to their hands. Like everything was bad. And let me also share this. So
Well,
I
not just
this-
receivers. You have your best tight end dropped one that was on the money.
Yeah. Well, he's a receiver, right? We can lump them together.
Yeah, sure.
So but you guys know this. I work with a couple people who are Notre Dame grads.
Great.
And they were very quiet, didn't say anything. And I said this morning to one of them, I said, I admire your restraint, but I know this is an actual grad. We've talked about this in the past. The actual Notre Dame people who went there,
It's different. They're
they
different.
get it a little more than the
Sure.
dopes walking by taunting people.
Yeah.
And I said, I know this because you get it, and you're having respect for the dead. I get it. And he said to me, he goes, I'll tell you. He goes, and I thought this was an interesting perspective. Not that we care that much about a Notre Dame fan. However, he said, he goes, it makes you feel any better. I got more angry at Notre Dame as I watched that because I was like, where the hell is this?
What was this last week?
What is this? How come you can do this? Because he was acknowledging that Purdue's a better team and more talented than Northern Illinois. So what? So he's like, I got annoyed about that. And he goes, and I will say, he goes, the lack of adjustments by Purdue was perplexing. And I'm like, yeah, it's always interesting when you can see it from the other side too, where you're even looking at it going, well, this can't continue. They can't just keep letting us run off tackle and run constantly wherever we want and miss every tackle and not adjust in any way, not spy. And yet they did. So the people criticizing the coaching staff, and I liked what you said in your quick cast, we have always been consistent on this. I said to you guys after the game or during the game, I think I said to you guys, I don't put this on the players. Yeah, the players didn't perform, but that happens. Sometimes they just aren't that good.
Right.
How you could have this much time, and don't even tell me 2 weeks to prepare. You had months to prepare.
Right.
Because you didn't have to prepare for Indiana State. Let's be honest. You knew you were going to win that game. You had as much time as you could possibly want to prepare for Notre Dame. And you had nothing, no adjustments, nothing. You kept the starters in. I have to get all my complaints here, Nish. You kept the starters in.
The starters in might be the unkindest cut for me. Like, I hate that.
And someone said, I think your brother told me that Walters was asked. I haven't seen it yet in one of them, but he was asked, and he said he was trying to send a message. What message are you trying to send? Taking them out sends a message too. And it says, I'm going to put in hungrier guys because you guys suck today.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay to say when players aren't playing well. You guys are out because you're not delivering. Like,
the team looked demoralized after going down 14-0. And again, like 14-0, it was two bad drives, and kind of nothing offensively. And so, yeah, but sometimes that happens, right? And it's like sometimes it's a bad start to the game, but you have a good second, third quarter, and you're right back into it.
It was close to that happening. It was 21-0 with 2.5 minutes to go until halftime. You guys realize that?
Right.
2:10 to go was the touchdown that made it 28-0. It's 28-0, then 35 on the pick six, 2 plays later, and then the 70-yard run when they were literally trying to run
the draw play. Yeah.
And it went to 42.
Like show a little life on the third drive, but it already looked completely. The
first drive they looked done. They looked done. The way that Notre Dame ran through Purdue in like 6 plays. Yeah,
but even sometimes that happens, right? Like sometimes
you have to respond then.
Out, exactly, and
they didn't respond at all. That's
if nothing else, then a long drive. Even if you don't score, hold the ball for a while, do something, move the ball, feel good about
1-3
yourself.
And out, right? I mean, like show something.
I believe there were 2 of 13.
Think about the confluence of factors this team could potentially create for itself, where you have an offense that can't hold a block, so Card's going to get hit a lot. You're going to go backwards on many drives because the plays are so slow developing. If a team is smart at all, I mean, they're going to put pressure on him, force him into a difficult position where he's off his back foot. I mean, they're pretty much teeing up on him. But so you have quick drives on offense and a defense playing man-to-man with a guy who you rely heavily on sprinting 20 or 30 yards every single play. That's bad formula for the long run, right? I mean, like, how about this question? If you guys can tell me I went back, I watched highlights, and it looks to me, not only did Purdue not make any adjustments, they didn't change any of the looks before the snap. Like ever. Am I wrong? Tell me, someone in the comments. We've got probably 100 people in the watching this live, at least.
I think that's
tell me I'm wrong.
criticism.
Tell me I'm wrong about that.
People get the most mad at coaching staffs when they fail to adjust. I think not any team prepared is up there, but I think when you can't adjust. That's I mean, good coaching staffs adjust. We see it when other teams do it to Purdue sometimes. They come out in the second half and you're like, well, and it happens in college basketball too. You know, the good teams with good coaching staffs, you know it's never safe because they're going to figure something out and make an adjustment. And Purdue has shown so far that they don't do that. This coaching staff doesn't do that. And maybe they won't because they're young. They're learning. I don't know.
But how do you so here's my thing. I have a thesis that is a bigger picture problem. Not that Walters is young, not even that his coordinator's young, but there's no crusty veterans on the staff that can say this is what you should do because I've seen this. What happens in this
We
right?
talked about that
Yep.
actually
We talked
early
about them hiring
last year,
someone
or
like
like
that.
in the
Yeah.
off season last year,
Yep.
when we were saying, is there anything that you see? I think the two that you don't like as he's assembling his coaching staff, and I think the only two things that we were talking about, one was the number of Illinois people. We weren't feeling great about that, but they had a legitimately great defense, and that's kind of where he is. But then the other was that every coach being hired, if you remember, it was a slow dribble of hires. They weren't hired all at once. It was like one a week or one every other week or whatever. And it took through the summer, the spring or the summer to fill out the whole thing. And every single one of them was like mid 30s, early 30s, late 30s, mid 30s. And it's like, you got it. And the other thing was that there was no special teams last year. There was no special teams coach. There wasn't anybody with, like we were saying, our ideal was Dino, right? I mean, like, and again, we know that Dino took a head coaching job still, but like that type of recently fired, respected, offensive-minded head coach with lots of decades of experience. For Dino, it's like with a Purdue tie that we all love, that would have been great, like on this staff, but and not necessarily at the OC though. Again, like I wasn't on board with some of the Graham Harrell, like the quick trigger, and now I'm like completely like
Boy,
off
that
of it
loves
right
Graham
now.
Yeah, he's
It's
my
like,
guy.
I
Get off
think
that.
I think honestly, and because we've talked about this offline,
It was
I
the
think
earliest to be a jackass towards Graham.
I think you were.
Yay!
I think you were too kind to him in your two like quick guests that you've done so far. It's like, Jay and I talked about this earlier. The one time that we saw this offense like flow with some sort of creativity and energy was the end of last year, the last 4 games of last year, minus the one that Card didn't play. Right, that's when you increased the leash on him. But it's like combination of no guys like on the staff with that experience, and like just like unproven offensive scheme here. Is like, I don't know, like all of us, I think actually of everybody, of all of the stars that Purdue has, I actually think despite that one like pick 6 that was horrific, Card was like the least culpable. He was hitting receivers in the hands. He was doing what he could, right?
And he had no time, as we talked about. It wasn't like he had no time. He had no time at all. So I don't.
Hey, somebody asked a question earlier. Is this Card's last year? I don't think technically it is. I think he could have one more because
he does have another.
Because he could. One of those years could go back in redshirt, I believe, right?
Retroactive. Still
redshirt.
COVID year?
Well, he was. I think his first year was a COVID year, but I think he played like 1 game. So I think I think this is his 4th season really playing. So if you count the COVID year,
and 2 games in 20. So
you could have redshirted that. That is a redshirt,
right? And everybody got an extra year of eligibility.
So I think he could theoretically have 2 more.
No,
theoretically.
I mean, well, shit. I mean, like, let's be honest. The NCAA, everything's very elastic,
and he's already 23. So like, he could play another couple of years. Like, he could play another year. Let's put it that way.
He could, yeah. He's. I think that was the.
And probably should.
I don't know. Well,
I mean, if he has dreams of playing another level, like he should.
Tom Dienart said one of the smartest things I've heard Dienart say since he's covered Purdue last week leading in. He said Hudson Card needs a game to show us what he's about, right? Because what I think I'm beginning to think that we've seen the game what he's about. I don't want to think that, but I'm just like, he's a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
But he has really bad games. He makes big mistakes sometimes in bad games, like pushing a ball left-handed. He's a talented guy. But I mean, like, are we looking for a next level, a next gear? We want to see it. Everybody wants to see it.
He was very good against IU. Let's not shortchange that.
Right.
That was good.
Is that enough? Is that enough?
The Minnesota.
I could ask. We ask the people who are watching. Is that enough? I mean,
the IU and the Minnesota games last year.
You're a Hudson Card apologist, which is good. I think that's fine.
Because he's the least of the problem.
He's the least of the
guys. He's the least of the problem.
Absolutely agree.
So let's not go, well, could he be a little better? Could he throw 6 touchdowns in the second half?
No. Here's what I'm going to say.
66 to 50, 42, whatever. Go on.
Yeah. he's the least of your problems, but you can't tell me that if you have a really, really dynamic quarterback that just makes plays and does the impossible and never gives up on a play, that it couldn't make a bit of a difference. Like, I'm not kidding around about that.
I
So
don't know.
so
Yeah.
so what you want is another.
We haven't seen that yet. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
That's all you want.
Just Lamar Jackson. It should be.
Purdue's had
easy.
plenty of
Well, Notre Dame got
serviceable
Lamar
quarterbacks.
Jackson for a week, so why can't Purdue have him for a week? I mean, what the hell? That's the best round. Or the best statement. My brother said that, and I think Greg McManus agreed. I think at halftime, but I heard multiple people saying that's Lamar Jackson out there. He's wearing a mask. That's not Riley Leonard.
I did want
He's a
to
little bigger
go
than Lamar
because it
Jackson.
was killing me.
right.
Like you had brought up the Syracuse quarterback that
Graham something?
tore. Yes, Garrett Schrader. You were on the right. Your
Typical
brain
big
had it
honky
somewhere.
white man.
Because you
name,
guys didn't
Garrett
stay till the
Graham.
very bloody end of one of my hour quick casts recently, because somebody gave that answer, and because I could not remember.
He's a fun one because he looked, as you said, so flawless against Purdue. And then if you watch
Gosh.
the rest of the season, he was terrible.
Yep.
When
yep.
they went into the shitter like halfway through the season, he was so bad.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. So
Yeah.
I got news for you guys. This is why people who like the NFL and don't like college sports, because they don't really follow it, this is the comment they make, because there's inconsistency. And this is the thing.
Oh,
College
Watch
quarterbacks
the Colts.
are like this. College quarterbacks are like
Well,
this.
the Colts have a college quarterback. Yeah.
They have a bad college
Yes, thank
quarterback.
you, Joe
They have a
Ensley. Card
mediocre college
24
quarterback.
25. Card 24-25 in week 1, best of all time. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Right. No, the thing that I would argue, I went on a hunt today because a friend of mine has been challenging me about Richardson being the next big thing. And I'm like, I'd challenge you to find me just guys that develop into something after being like, he has all the signs of me of a guy just not a very good
Well,
quarterback.
it's Josh Allen. You're hoping that he's the next Josh.
But Josh Allen played a lot in college.
He did.
Like he
He
played
wasn't-
a
he wasn't-
lot.
But
Yeah,
and
he
he
wasn't as good as he turned out to be.
But
I
he
think
showed
got
he
better.
showed flashes though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Richardson played for one season, was a 6-win quarterback who passed for what? 55% completion?
Yeah,
I mean,
you're drafting.
And he
to
looks
him.
now like a 500 at best quarterback that's going to pass for under
It's a
60% all the
He's a
time.
college quarterback, right? And so, like, back to what you were saying, like, this is the inconsistency that.
Yeah,
you
Richardson
see.
is
I'll
fired.
trade you-
Great
I'll
point.
trade you-
Why is Richardson fired? Because he threw a bomb? Is he fired because he can bench press 225 100 times? Is he fired because he can run real fast and not learn that you can't take a hit in the NFL? Which one of
Welcome
these
to the
things makes him
Colts, Howard.
fire?
I would like to offer
No,
you
this guy
Daniel
makes.
Jones.
I'm telling you, I am so frustrated with this idea that just potential makes you great. I'm
I would
so
like to
frustrated
offer
with
you
this.
Daniel Jones straight up for Richardson.
That's right.
There's
I would
potential.
Yeah.
Take
potential
it
for
in a
something.
second.
Yeah.
By the way, Anish may remember this. Sometimes he credits me with this one. Do you remember how badly I wanted Lamar Jackson for the Giants?
Oh, I
The
thought it was
Giants-
happening.
Well, because
I
you
believe
only
it was the
watched
year
him
they
for
took
2
Saquon.
years
They
kick
could have
everybody's
taken him.
ass.
Oh.
No, but I knew how
So
good he was
good.
going to be.
And
So
we
good.
we were fans. Like we were all.
Right.
I mean, like, and it's not like every college diehard is like
Because we're
this
college
dude.
sports fans, and we
Right.
loved watching him just terrorize other teams.
Yeah.
It
This
was so
dude
fun.
is going.
He
to
was
be a
never
star.
down. How about that? Okay, here. I'm going to make you guys
It
a
was
deal.
like Rondell Moore, never down.
I'm going to make you guys a deal. Purdue's next quarterback, whoever starts. I just want him to be like Lamar Jackson. That's it in college.
It's
Simple
really
as.
easy.
I didn't say Drew Brees. See, I'm not. You can't have that lightning
I'm not.
strike twice.
Right.
But
Totally
Lamar
different.
Jackson in college.
Yes, Mark. What's
Deal?
that? How
Can
do
we
you
can we
pronounce-
sign off on this?
How do you
Ah,
pronounce the kid's
sounds
name?
great.
Marcus Davila? Is it Davila? Davila?
I think it's Davila, and there's a guy coming in named Rios, who's a high 3, low 4, depending on the recruiting magazine. And Card's career is not over. That's the other thing, and he can do some big things. The problem is, it's like you have a guy now. You talk about those data points. We've got a lot of data points.
Yeah, and he's
I like
A lot of data
I
points.
think that of everything that was miserable yesterday, Hudson Card was the
Daniel
one.
Jones would be broken in half versus Notre Dame, guys, because he would have gotten hit so many times. People say Daniel Jones, they only would have lost by 25 to Notre
Well, I
Dame.
like.
You
we
got
got
hit a
some-
lot.
I feel like we have some new commenters here, and we've got some of the people who do that. They argue sort of like, you argue with a person who they argue a point or against a point that you weren't making. If you go back a few scrolls there, Adam Beasley said very authoritatively, Card isn't as good as Breeze or Orton. Garbage. I don't think.
Mm.
I don't think
What?
anyone.
I need more
Who
data
said he
points.
was?
I need more data.
No one
points.
said he
You're
was.
not sure yet. You're not sure yet, Anish.
I'm not going to clown
one
on
said
Beasley. He's
that.
my guy. I love
Listen.
Beasley.
Listen for content.
Yeah. By the way, it is definitely a Chris Ballard issue since we're continuing over
But-
here. I'm continuing. It's definitely a Chris Ballard issue. Okay, no more Colts talk because I get. See, that's the thing that makes me mad as a Purdue and a Colts fan.
Oh, just the
And
one.
maybe Jay for you, huh? Yeah, there's just one thing. There's just one thing. No, I hate it when I'm frustrated on Saturday or angry.
And then Sunday they kick you in the
And then
nuts. while
Sunday, yes, exactly. All I want to do is not think about anything, and then I just get so pissed off on Sunday.
you don't even have to play well. Just don't make me angry. Just give me something.
exactly.
I
Don't
need
make
some
me
background.
mad.
I need some
Gosh,
background
darn
noise.
it.
It's like easy listening
Let me nap to this. But no,
Exactly.
I get mad watching the Colts on Sunday after
Ryan,
getting
the-
mad watching
The Giants
Purdue on
lost to
Saturday.
the Commanders 21-18, but they didn't give up 3 touchdowns. They gave up 7 field goals. It's always
That's
and it's
fun.
like, do you get mad at them for losing that game, or do you say that wasn't that bad because they didn't give up any touchdowns? I don't understand. I don't even know. So I can't even figure out whether you should be upset with them. I don't even know. 21-18. I guess that's not good. I don't know. Oh, and the Giants were driving into field goal range to win the game when it was 18-18, but their field goal kicker was hurt. And so normally your punter backs him up, but he was also hurt. So the Giants had to go for it and didn't get it. And Washington went down and scored.
Oh my gosh. Did you see, speaking of had to go for it, did you see what happened in the Packers Colts game? Why Malik what's his last name? Who played quarterback?
Willis.
Malik Willis playing quarterback, and in a late in the game, there's a play where he's rolling right, and it looks like he should just throw the ball. Okay. He comes off the field. They don't execute on third down. He comes off the field. He says, "Why didn't you throw the ball?" He said, "Well, he threw up on the ball. The center threw up on the ball. And so he said
slippery.
he couldn't get a grip." I'm like, I would have just joined it and thrown up on it again. I can't stand vomit.
Yeah, you have a tough time with vomit.
I have a tough time with vomit.
Oh, shouts to the girl vomiting in the concourse at halftime.
Oh, man. We all got to see a show.
We should have filmed that because that was a perfect metaphor for the weekend, set for that game. This girl was
She threw up hard,
vomiting so much chunkage up.
Oh, it was gross.
The funniest part was she was in front of 3 police officers.
They were just watching.
They're 8 feet away, just watching her. And then I turned and was talking to you guys, and then we turned back, and she was face down on the
Face down. Took a little nap.
Just down. Yeah.
Same.
You were doing that inside,
Yeah.
Anish. Yeah.
That's
This
just
time it
soul.
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just,
Puking, you say.
Joe Ensley just made a great point, not to go back to the NFL. The Giants, this has got to be hard. Giants scored 3 TDs and lost without giving up a TD.
My gosh.
That's not
great. That's one that'll make you mad.
because they scored 3
that'll make you
TDs and
mad.
had
That'll make
18
you mad.
points because they couldn't kick extra points.
That's unreal.
That is a great stat. I love it. I love it.
That's one of those. That's a good factoid. So yeah, the girl wasn't big, by the way. It was vomiting, right? That's what Greg was saying. No, there was
Greg
a
says
lot
half
of.
her body. She threw up so much.
She threw up hard. It was really.
You were having trouble with it. You were ready.
I took one more look, and I got a little waft of it, and that was like, okay.
I missed this, and then I came back, and all of a sudden, Boiler Down was nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
And then I saw
couldn't
the
do it.
remnants of what was left, and I was like, "Oh, I see." I put 2 and 2 together.
baking in the sun.
Oh, can you imagine how? I don't know if you guys came through there later. Ugh.
No, I didn't go that way.
So my wife is a registered nurse. She's an amazing person, like all registered nurses. I'm not kidding, by the way, they're the best.
Yeah.
But gosh darn it, I just got another text from my friend who I've been arguing about Richardson for 2 days about. Really been arguing for 2 years. But so I said to my wife one time, one of our kids got sick, had the flu. She would wake up, she'd go start, and then I'm like, oh man, she's gone. I get up because I'm more of a sound sleeper. I get up, and one of our kids is throwing up. And so I was like, okay. And then, so she's doing everything, cleaning them up, everything. It's going to be fine. And I'm like, I got to do it. My turn. I'm going to take the laundry. I go, I shouldn't tell this story.
No, now you have to.
Well, so I go and I take the sheets are filled with vomit, like they're weighted down like a bag filled with vomit. And so then I go in, I'm like, I can't just throw this. This is always making me throw up right now. I can't just throw it in the. So I've got to rinse this out someplace. So first I go into the restroom and I throw it into the toilet, and the splatter makes me start dry heaving hard. Like I'm like hard, okay. So then, like, it's killing me right now. Like, I'm thinking about this. This is a formative memory. And so then I go into the bathroom and or go into the laundry. I'm gonna throw it in there, and I'm like, it's still gross. It's still too much. And then I'm gonna have to deal with it in the bottom of the basin. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna wash it off in the sink. So I start washing off. Same thing. I get so in my head, everything. So the splattering of the water starts making me think of splattering of vomit as I'm watching just little chunks fall out. I start the hard driving again. Then I go to this is not a joke. I go to the throw it in the washer and I get a smell of it and I throw up a little into the washer.
Your wife's like, you know what? Just go back to bed, you idiot.
Yeah, you are little weak-minded child. Go to bed. Thanks for nothing. Gosh darn it.
Welcome to the post-game, the post-game vomit.
By the way,
this is comments on the side here about going off track. Would you like us to talk more about a 66-7?
Yeah.
Would you like more analysis? Is that what you're looking for?
You're looking for, yeah. We can tell you what went wrong.
Break down the tape, everybody.
I've done it already. By the way, if you follow us on Twitter, I did it, and it's not fun. It's not good. No one walks away from that feeling better. I didn't feel better afterwards.
I know you broke that down. Let me talk about a few stats here.
Yeah.
1 for 12 on third down, Purdue. 1 for 12. Okay, 0 for 1 on fourth. So 1 for 13 on third and fourth downs. 162 total yards, 38 rushing yards to Notre Dame's 364. Riley Leonard was, I guess we were talking after the game and I said, I bet you he was something like, I forget what I said on completions. I was close. He was 11 of 16. I said something like 12 of 18 or something.
Right.
I think I said, I bet you he had 140 passing yards. He had 112 passing yards.
Goodness gracious. Rob Henry numbers.
And then you put something in the post game about, I'm not even going to bother looking now. I guess I could, but they had several
100
guys
yards rushing, 112 yards passing.
They had several guys though with they had 3 guys who were 9.1 yards per carry or more.
Yeah.
And 5 rushing touchdowns among those 3 guys. And
almost
300 rushing.
George Purdue, and then the guy who had 89 yards because he had a huge run. I mean,
Jadarian Prince had, like their long runs 70, 48, 34, and 29. Those are separate guys.
That's what I mean. Like the defensive line, like stopping the run was awful. The linebackers were completely ineffective. I suppose there's nothing bad to say about the cornerbacks because there were no passes. Like, I mean, there was just nothing. It was just all on the ground.
Motor City brings up a good point about vomit. He remembers when a Purdue player scored and vomited when he came off the field. Number 17, wide receiver. Can't remember. It was a JUCO transfer, if I'm remembering correctly. So I'm almost there on that. But I remember that because he came off to the sideline and threw up, right? It was one of these days where it was like 90 and hot and humid. By the way, I just interrupted your stats for more vomit talk. So that's
okay.
That's good stuff.
No, I Steve Angeli, their quarterback they brought in that you correctly said really threw a beautiful.
I mean, impossible to throw a better ball. Like the coverage was right on. The coverage was step for step. He was in the guy's hands pretty much, right?
He was 6 of 9 for 100 yards and 2 TVs. You can't be really any better than that. 6 of 9 for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Threw the ball.
Cobra said Jefferson was the receiver who threw up. Good stuff.
Nice.
Puke 6.
The Puke.
Yes, dag nabbit. Why didn't that come to? That was fun. That was fun. Puke 6. Good times.
Well, I don't know what else there is to say. Yeah, it was terrible.
Did you have questions? I saw people were giving you stuff on Twitter. Do you have any that you liked?
I've got one question.
Go ahead, Anish. Please.
So Notre Dame is back on the schedule.
Yeah.
Is it every year for 4 years or something?
Then there's a break, and then I think they build back in.
So my son gets to watch Purdue lose to Notre Dame 4 times.
So there's 4 years.
I'm sorry.
If I remember correctly, it's 2 years, and then they do 4 years again, like a 2-year break.
I'm so sorry. I hate this.
So the last time Notre Dame walked away from the Purdue game because it was nothing but downside, and Purdue had nothing but upside, and they felt like they should schedule someone different because it's just like they were not getting anything from this game. My question to you guys is it Purdue's turn to walk away, considering all of the complaints about the non-conference scheduling?
Yes.
versus
Yes. I already know. Yes.
I don't even know what he's
Versus
asking.
now-
Let me hear the question.
versus now the way that Notre Dame needs this game, because as their
Yes.
schedule gets
And
tougher,
stick it in their eye.
their need wins.
Their athletic department deserves that.
And as
Yeah.
Purdue's schedule gets tougher, we
Yes.
need more guaranteed wins
Yes.
like IU's schedule.
Yes.
Is it
We want
Purdue's
Ball
turn?
State on the schedule. Yes.
Is it Purdue's turn to walk away?
Yes,
from
it
the rivalry?
is. Yes, it is.
Generates revenue, I bet you. So I don't know.
If they
I
want
know,
to make
Purdue
it,
won't do that because it's Purdue's athletic department. You're right, Jay. You're exactly right.
ask
Gosh.
them, maybe it should be a Notre Dame.
By the way,
bye
this
week.
is the same freaking place that wouldn't let the drum in the stadium. Same place that kicked the train off the stadium, out of their town.
I agree.
Screw
Or,
Notre Dame.
I don't know if Anish
And
just
that's
said
not the
this.
only reason. There's 100 reasons to hate Notre Dame.
I don't know if he just said this, but if you didn't, I'm going to say it. If you want to play us in football, then you have to play us in basketball.
Yes. Pretty simple. By the
you know
way,
me, I'm in.
Shrews is going to do that. This isn't Digger Phelps.
That's a good
Shrews
point.
would do that. Shrews would do it. And Paint would love that. That'd be fun.
Payne would love it. I mean, Payne would absolutely. By the way, the two biggest, and I think somebody mentioned this as well, but the two biggest cheers in the game was for the opening kickoff because the crowd was ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
And then when Matt Painter appeared on the Jumbotron.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
No
it.
doubt.
Those
Why
were
is
the
that,
two big
Anish?
cheers. Hey, what's this? Can you read this? Can you read what happened here?
Something about
2024.
Einl
men's
4. What's an
Final
Einl
Four.
4?
I know. That one, it's the F is the Painter Move sticker on that you can find on
Late on Saturday
You
night.
got some
Okay.
you got some good ones in that corner.
Redbubble.com.
Yeah,
That's
boy.
right.
Yeah, I got to make another one. I saw somebody at the game. A student was wearing a shirt that just says "I love trains, I heart trains," and I got to make one with a gold heart because you can find "I love trains" on the internet. I guess with a red heart. So I need to put that on Redbubble. Real simple.
Easy.
I love trains, gold heart.
$1 billion idea.
I think I will be
You
very,
will make
very
at
rich.
least 100
Er,
cents.
Exactly. If you guys, any of you have Redbubble accounts, you know how little that makes you. I mean,
But
like
it's
I am
fun.
the king of not making monies.
Yeah, you know how to not make money.
I do know how to not make money. I'm good at not making money.
So
Goodness.
I think we've come up with this. With Purdue needing more non-conference wins as the Big Ten schedule gets tougher, and Notre Dame needing more non-conference wins as their path to the playoff gets tougher, they are now going to want to play to Purdue every year, and Purdue does not want to play Notre Dame anymore.
Yep.
And so it's our turn to walk away from the rivalry. I
Yes.
think we've come up with this.
I love it.
So I did get a couple. I challenge everyone to give a couple questions on Twitter, and we got a couple. And let's see here. So Nate, and the Twitter handle is Neth Nala. I don't know if I did that right, but Nate. This is a bit of a thinker. Would you rather, one, Notre Dame beat Purdue by 59 points, but Purdue basketball goes to the national title game the year before? Or Purdue football goes to the Big Ten championship game, but basketball loses to a 16 seed in the first round the year after? Wait a minute. Both of those happened.
Hold on a second.
You can't fool me.
Yeah, wait. That's funny. That's funny.
That's very good.
Yeah. And it
Boilerman,
hurts my feelings.
his handle is Indie Jeep BS. I don't know if he's trying to tag on to BS, but good for you if you are. He asks AJ's garlic cheeseburger or the pub burger?
Is the pub the one with the barbecue sauce and the bacon? Because that's the one.
That's the Western, isn't it?
Ah, that's the Western. Yes,
I don't
you're
think
right.
I had the
with little
garlic
Crispies.
cheeseburger.
See, I think what you do with the Western is you get onion rings on the side to kick the onion up even to next level. So you have a grilled onion and an onion ring on there, and you go with the Western.
Littering
madman.
and
That wasn't even a choice. That's the greatest thing. That wasn't the choice. I don't know what the pub burger is, and be honest.
the breakfast burger with a fried egg on it. Sorry,
that was
never
what you
fails.
That's a good one. That's
Isn't
a
that
good
what
one.
you got?
No, I'm saying that's what is my vote.
That's what you got. Oh, okay. So we're just not answering the
my
question.
son
Twitter's
got
not
the
answering the question.
my son got the no, we're not. My son got the Greek burger one time. That is that'll defeat you. That is huge.
Okay, I got the first time
It's like 7 pounds of gyro meat.
the first
and-
time we went there. Not the first time, but one of the times we went there, I think last season, the season before, I was like, I'm not feeling beef. I'm not feeling too much, or I'm not feeling like a big burger. So I'll get the gyro burger because what it says is gyro meat and stuff. And so it's like, I just assumed that it was just the gyro in burger form. Nope, there's a patty on there. Oh my. I was down and out for the count. Shout out to AJ.
Yeah, that will put you. That's nap time right there for me. At my age, I eat that much. I'm not gonna say that sentence.
Speaking of AJ's, we did mention in the beginning. Good friends at AJ's. Please visit them by the fire station. Turn left, depending on what direction you're coming from.
It always works.
They're also known as firehouses, but fire station's fine too. The station is where you have the fire. Stop right here. This is the station where we have fires.
Yeah.
And then,
by the way, they heroically fought through a kitchen fire weeks ago. I bet you didn't even know that. Many people out there, the consumers, they had a flare up kitchen
firehouse. That's
no. They didn't do that. They did it themselves. They put it out, kept the kitchen going because that's a brave crew.
Yeah, we got orders coming in, and we don't have time to have a fire. Let's
exactly.
Put it out and move on.
Yep. Yeah. So if you go in there on a game day weekend, you look for your boiled sports magnet at the bottom of your pond.
Hell yeah, yeah. Well, I tweeted a picture of him actually having it up on the dry race board saying,
"Yeah,
use these on Purdue game days." That is very nice.
Really cool. Really cool.
Gray-haired Boiler fan, Turf Mop is his X handle, and he says, "Would you rather see Notre Dame lose a heartbreaker, keeping them out of the college football playoff, or see Indiana lose a heartbreaker to keep them from being bowl eligible?" I will go with the latter because I don't care if Notre Dame makes the playoff because they're not going to win the title.
Right.
It'd be actually funnier to see them at a big public stage get smoked again.
Yeah.
And IU not making a bowl with Signetti and the way they're feeling would be fantastic.
Boy, yeah, they got that momentum right now.
They do, but they were supposed to win these games. So good for you. You won the games you're supposed to win.
Hey, I'll take it. I mean, hey, that's pretty good. There's a larger conversation, with the team building structure that is there that we should have later in the season once we have more data on this. But yes, let's keep going.
He's guying all the data. Boiler Bugle asks if we should replace Shout with Crazy Train or Come On Ride It. Now, my answer is always Come On Ride the Train because it's delightfully goofy and it's so applicable to only Purdue. Yep. And Crazy Train, I'm going to go out here and say that's a very overrated song. I don't like Crazy Train.
I like that. I like what you just said.
It's not.
It's
not a crowd pump up. It's like a weird.
I think when you brought this up 10 years ago, I think I would have been against the Come On Ride the Train because it's.
You were against it. I remember it.
It's corny. It's a really corny song, and now that's the entire style has kind of come back.
Dude, and 90s are awesome. What are you talking about?
You play it after wins, which I still do love. I have a video.
It's almost like they were listening to us a long time ago. I mean, I was a one song guy. That was it. It's gonna be let's put that.
And
it was written for Purdue
me,
football.
Right.
You asked me 10 years ago, Shout was great. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I played it at the wedding. It's all great. It was very formative. It's played out. I think we could very much say it is over. And for everybody that liked it, it is over. But maybe don't play it when we're down 45.
What I was going to say is even if you like it, even if the majority thought we should keep it, you should have the discretion to say it's 59-7. Let's not.
And if it's not, like Purdue royalty doing the shout
guy
for something like that is like, oh, that's what.
Welcome back, Bill, who graduated from Krannert School of Management in 1989 and has had a successful career. It's the best we could do today. That was something like that. It was some guy. It wasn't like an astronaut or a former athlete. It was some poor guy who had to go out there, and literally the poor guy goes, "Well, Purdue fans, it's not over till it's over." I'm like, nope.
No. It's over.
It was over a while ago, my friend.
It was over.
Mm-hmm.
I said to your brother, one of your brothers, brother dad, I said, let's say you had agreed to do that. I said, you and I would both say, nope, I'm not
tonight. No,
I'm not doing it. I'll pass on the honor. Yeah. Nope.
Really, really appreciate this opportunity, but.
Or you'd go out there with the mic and just say, and shout.
Exactly.
Down with shout.
Throw the mic out the window of the.
I'm a little bit quieter now, indeed. Let's not do it.
How about silent now? A lot silent now.
A little less talking. Yeah.
A little less talking. A little less singing now. Yeah.
Anyway.
That's nice.
Oh yeah. Did I have anything else? I don't know. I might have had one. I don't know. Was there anywhere? You guys did okay tonight. Not great. Because you got smartasses like Motor City Boilers saying, would you rather lose to Notre Dame by 59 or to Ohio State by 100? Sorry, that's not a fun one. Yeah, okay. Now you're being darker than me.
One of my favorite things tonight is Motor City saying that your Jay is spot on or something like that. He said something. No, Jay Money is spot on tonight, and somebody else saying you never know anything.
And
in the
Anisha's
same
spot on
comments.
tonight. It's probably the same guy.
It's 1-1. We need a tie-breaking vote.
I say Jay's spot on and Anisha's spot on.
I think you're spot on.
I think I'm okay. Well, now Purdue goes. We talked way more than we should have about this game.
Yeah.
Purdue now goes to Oregon State.
Yep. Oh, I want to tell you guys something about Oregon State's offensive line. They're huge.
They're big.
So the problem that they have is what Purdue had last year, and that is the drop off on the two deeps is noteworthy. Like their starting offensive line, I'm telling these guys are beasts. Their starting defensive line is also pretty big. It's like kind of an old school Iowa or Nebraska type group in the trenches. Again, though, I'm telling you, the two deeps, it's a little tough. And I don't know what the weather's going to be like in Oregon. I assume
no one ever knows.
Right.
They don't have weather.
Better than 90 and sunny. It's going to be damp.
It's going to be nighttime.
So it
won't be sunny.
It reminds me of, minus the torrential downpour, what Virginia Tech was last year, right? I mean, like the Purdue team going against that Virginia Tech team after the
at that moment
Fresno State loss. Yeah, exactly. That should have been a win. Again, it wasn't that bad because it was like you're still seeing light. You saw life from that team. That team should have had the Fresno State win. It just really did look like inexperience versus experience won the Fresno State game for Fresno.
I think that, to me, that's one of the most forgivable losses you could ever have from a young coach, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right away, you're playing a guy who's going to go in the Hall of Fame, probably, right? I mean, Tedford's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Or, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, he's a very, very
There's
good
an example. You didn't lose. It was frustrating, but you lost by a touchdown late. Okay.
Yeah, on the road in your first game. Like
no, that was at home.
It was at home.
Or at home on your.
They had the lead in the fourth, though. I mean, but again, the experienced coach got it done, and I could say that's fine. This is literally brand new.
Tech, you go to Tech, you survive the lightning striking the stadium
quite literally.
The 6-hour difference, and you kind of still win the game, and that's great.
That was pretty awesome. It was gutsy.
That did, given the 4 wins last year, it's like that's one of the things that kind of set the tone for the season in the darker moments, right? And I don't think there were that many dark moments last year. Strangely, like it was all kind of like, all right, this is
year one
season, like year changing the guard. Let's do it. And the concept of year 0 used to exist, where it's like you're bringing in your guys, you're bringing in your system. You don't have a full kind of training camp yet. It happens, right? Man, does your prediction boil or down, like we've already said, of this game being the season? Like,
I'd like to quickly change just to one other thing. Garrett Burke here in the comments says, I'd like to just quickly address this. Not as a huge defender of Walters necessarily, but he says, I just don't understand why we hired a project head coach after one of the best eras of Purdue football. The one thing that brings to mind for me is that's kind of, we're in an era right now of football where, and this changes quickly, but you can hire an established guy like they did with Brom, like somewhat established, who kind of was kind of a hot commodity, but not so hot that Tennessee or somebody was gonna
You see that comment?
Yes, Ben Carnahan just said Boiler Dad leaves Ross Aid crowd in a rendition of Silent Night.
Nice.
Anyway, I think you can either hire the established guy, and that's getting harder to do because of the money involved. And
but we're in transition in the game, right?
No, but the other thing you're seeing is a lot of programs hiring young guys because it's worked at both college and pro levels recently. And we know that football is a very copycat thing. It's like, wow, you can bring in a young mind and it can work. It can work. So that's the answer to that question. Purdue decided to go a route that they're not the only one doing that.
And I actually wanted to bring this up because there are, for schools like Purdue, for programs like Purdue, there are 2 ways to hire a coach, right? There are 2 avenues that you can go down. One is what IU did, which was go to Western Kentucky, hire Tyson Helton, get all of his coaching staff or 90% of his coaching staff, get all of his quarterback, his wide receiver, a couple linemen, like take the entire roster, put it on that team the first year, and have a smoother first and second year as you like transition in.
Because you got the full staff.
So it's what it's what IU did with James Madison's staff and James Madison's players. I mean, IU is basically
I
James
like the
Madison's
business
players.
model. I mean, I think it makes a great amount of sense.
The other is hiring this up and coming coach. You have
And
Purdue
hiring,
doing this.
having an offensive coordinator that seems to not understand
Well, so that's
which way
the
the ball's
other-
supposed to go down the field.
Kenny Dillingham at Arizona. I mean, like Freeman at Notre Dame. I put together kind of a huge list of these before, and it is like
Freeman's circumstances is it's so different.
Freeman's is a lot. Freeman's is a lot.
So different,
Yes.
right? I mean, you got so many reasons that they kind of had to do it timing wise. I mean, you had. I mean, number one, he's a good players guy too, and the timing was just horrendous. They did what they had to do. So.
In even Lanning when he was hired, like Lanning was Oregon's Georgia's defensive coordinator. He wasn't even regional, right?
Right.
And now he's one of the 5 best coaches in the country, if not one of the 3 best coaches in the country.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and he's not even what he is, the same age, maybe a year younger than Walters. It's like you never know. And that's the point of this. You may strike gold and get a coach that Purdue could never get, or you get Dan Mullen. You know what I mean? Your choice is you could get Dan Mullen and kind of embrace the old of college football. You could get Tyson Helton, which is like, right now, like maybe Silverfield from Memphis would come, but I doubt it. He might be able to get a better job. But it's like, when Purdue hired last offseason, when they hired, what's it called? Walters, it was Western Kentucky. Like the other option was Tyson Helton. And it's like, that doesn't do it. Like he was not Brom at Western Kentucky, and he's not
no
good
doubt.
He's not a good enough offensive mind to build Purdue in the way that Tiller and Brom did and still succeed. Yeah. And so when you pick this way, you have to have more patience. And it is like the team building way. And the downside risk for the way that IU builds it is that it could fall off the cliff really quickly. When the James Madison players filter out, if it's not built with the right foundation below it, it could.
That's a good point.
Year 2 can fall entire, and that has happened a lot in the past as well.
Oh, you mean when IU doesn't have 3 patsies to start their season?
Well, but maybe Purdue should have, should have done that too.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just to your point about how it could fall apart. They might not have this kind of a start to a season.
Yeah,
although they always seem to. But yeah,
and that's the big thing. Like we don't know yet, and but the way that Purdue picked, you have to have patience. Like you're betting on the guy to develop, and we like everything about Walters, but the product is not like the product that we saw last week was inexcusable, right?
So, not to make this about IU football, but you saying that made me think. Wonder what their season looks like next year. Who their 3 non-con games are. To your points earlier about they play the Old Dominion Monarchs at home, they play the Kennesaw State Owls at home, and they play the Indiana State Sycamores at home. Those are their 3 non-conference.
But that is exactly what IU does in football. That's what
I'm talking about. That's IU.
Yeah, right. Saying. I know, but we talked about this last week, 2 weeks ago, about having the 3 teams that aren't great on your schedule, and I wouldn't renew anything with Notre Dame. It's simple.
I love that idea. That'd be so fun. Just be like, yeah, no.
You've already got so the funny thing about like you hear people talk about this. Karpik was talking about this on Golden Black about how it's always been something that helps Purdue, and it's helped create Purdue legends and all this momentum. It's all gone through momentum or going through Notre Dame when a guy starts a season. That's kind of definitive. But the whole thing that you look at is the eras are totally different because now you don't need the gate revenue from Notre Dame to make money as a football program, right? You don't need Notre Dame to strengthen your schedule, to have a strong schedule and have a bunch of interesting teams, a bunch of interesting games. You're going to have them, so.
And in the transfer era and in the upcoming super conference era, it is very possible that you're not even playing the same sport. Like you're not even competing for the same player in recruiting. So it's not like you have to get on this and you're playing the big boys. Like Purdue's in the Big Ten, and Purdue plays all of these teams and has a footprint in all of these other places. And like, it's about as high high profile as you can get, like in terms of like if you want to get the players. So it's like, to me, in this era of college football, I'm not sure that there is a benefit to playing Notre Dame anymore. The same way that Notre Dame only saw it as a trip and fall over our shoelaces game against Purdue in 2013 or 2012, right? So
Yep.
it is what it is, right?
Let's move on. And I would like to do everything you can to make Notre Dame pay for being stubborn as the conferences have realigned. Like I if you can have a small part in that, good. Because their athletic director, he's alluded to, you don't want to be the guy who leaves independence. Well, guess what? Everything's changing. This is not like it was 10, 15 years ago.
Their plan is so clearly to bet on the Super League happening and to stay independent until it does.
You know what bugs me though? They're not in. They're essentially
not in that.
But they are. They have to play. They have to play an ACC schedule. All their other sports are in the ACC, and so it's this pretend. Well, you can pretend to be independent, but you have to play an ACC schedule every year, which they do.
But the downside of being in the ACC is the ACC media rights deal, which, as we've seen, is no. But I'm actually not defending. They get all of the benefits of being an ACC team without any of the costs,
and the benefits of being independent. They get both.
Right, they don't have to split up any. They don't have to split up any of their money.
I'm saying they're getting the best case, but I'm saying this idea that they're still independent when they have to play ACC schools every year is that you're just. We get to still say we're independent, and we get to still reap the benefits, which is nice too.
They're just waiting until Super League happens.
Because you know what? If they were truly independent, it would be hard for them to. It's tough this is what Oregon State and Washington State are running into next year. Before the reconstituted Pac-12 comes to be, it's going to be hard for them to fill out their schedules because who are you going to play when everybody's in conference play? And if Notre Dame did not have the agreement with the ACC that they had, it would be hard because the reason that they lasted so long is, kids, you don't remember this, but 20, 30 years ago, there were actually a bunch of independent teams. Florida State was independent for a long time. Penn State was independent for a long time. The military academies were independent. So now you've got like two or three.
Tulane was an independent, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. There was a whole bunch. There were a whole bunch that were. Temple was, I think. But more than that, like I said, Penn State and I believe Florida State were independent for many years. Till Penn State joined the Big Ten in '93, which I know is a long time ago to some of you, but that's not in the history of college football.
Right.
It was easier to schedule because there were a lot of independent teams in there. Now, conferences have made it like, who would Notre Dame play on October 10th if they didn't have this ACC? And they might figure it out because they're Notre Dame, but teams don't want to step out of conference in the middle of the season. So like,
and the model of what the SEC has done for so long, putting a patsy in the middle. I don't think the Big Ten would be unwise to look at it, right? Say, why not bring one of your games that used to be in your first three games and schedule Ball State?
It's always the second to last game. It's always that week before rivalry week.
Right.
We do it like November 12th.
Get everybody healthy.
They all play some crappy.
Would you, if Purdue, it's not happening, but if Purdue were to get rid of the Notre Dame game, would you rather do a MAC team or would you rather do a Virginia Tech, Oregon State, Washington State, like that type of pure power?
I mean, if you want to rack up wins, no, you want to do the MAC or the
Sun Belt or whatever.
Some of the lesser conference.
Yeah. I don't think there's any reason to go after another big conference team. I just don't. It's just
because we've got enough beef on the schedule.
You're gonna have beef on the schedule every year. It's just like what you alluded to last week. I mean, that's 2 weeks ago, whenever you said that. I think that's it. To me, it's a very, very easy decision. You go as light as you can.
Because with 9 Big Ten wins, or with 9 Big Ten games now, the Big Ten adding 4 teams at any time of which two are going to be kind of elite teams. Like, of those 4 teams, it's a fair bet that 2 of them will be in the top 20 at any time in any schedule, right?
Yeah.
That is huge. And then plus they're West Coast, so half of the time you're playing them on the road. I mean, for teams like Purdue, expansion means 1.5 expanding by 4 teams means you are lowering the kind of average of your wins average by like 1.5 games, right? So where a 6.5 win season is like the expectation for Purdue, now it's like 5. And so why would you, to the point, it's like, I love these games. I love games against Oregon State. I love games against Virginia Tech. I love finding these peers that Purdue doesn't play often.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
Because it's like you find camaraderie there. You get to make a road trip, or you get to kind of find out new stuff, and you're not playing these other giants. And
Have
that's
their
great.
chili.
It's great. But also, it's like, why would you do that to yourself? And that's how I can defend IU's kind of scheduling of this, where
Sure.
it's like after 10 years of being in the Big Ten East, like, I don't blame IU for scheduling like this at all.
Get some wins on the schedule. I get it.
Yeah.
But they've done this longer than that, haven't they?
No, but
I mean,
like being in
Sure.
the Big Ten East, this is the
So
lesson.
did Purdue.
yeah.
When we started at Purdue, Purdue always did that.
Yeah, I
Pretty
know.
much.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, "No, I got to play world
But
beaters all the
because
time."
that's when strength of schedule really seemed to matter.
Yeah.
For everything. Even if you
Right.
were Purdue, if you were going to make a bowl, you wanted to make a good bowl, and strength of schedule kind of helped.
Mhm.
So you started, and you had a stretch there where I don't know how much of it was Babinski and how much of it was late Burke, but there was a desire to play a respectable schedule. Maybe it was Tiller remnants. I don't even know. But
So Cobra put it together here, as always, like with the stats here. But in 26, Wake and Notre Dame 27, UNC or Notre Dame and UNC 28, Wake and Notre Dame, Vandy in 29, TCU 30, UNC in 31, Ole Miss 33 and 34.
Right.
First of all, like the latter half of that ain't happening because that, who knows what happens.
Ole Miss
then.
33 and 34.
And Ole Miss, like, that's going to be super conference time, and who knows what's going to happen. But Wake is a perfect example where it's like, in a normal life, I love playing Vandy. I love playing TCU. I love playing Wake. I love like Oregon State and Virginia Tech. I love these kind of teams because it's
I
like
agree.
these are
It's
Purdue's
fun.
peer. NC
But
State.
let's
is
do it in
another-
basketball. Let's just do it in basketball. How about instead of football?
Yeah,
More room on the
we get to
schedule.
know each other just as well in these.
Exactly. And by
And
the
we
way,
can
did
be
you see,
indoors, so
to your
it's-
point
it's not
about
too hot.
canceling future engagements, did you see what Wake did after they lost to Ole Miss?
No.
They were supposed to play them again next year, and after the game, they canceled it.
Were
They got beat.
Oh, did they cancel the road game or did they cancel the home
Yes, they got beat 40-6 at home, and they said, "We're not coming to you next year." And they paid like $1 million something to get out of it.
game?
He said,
Wow.
"Nope." And I wonder if that's got to do with the idea that, you know what, it's only getting harder. We're going to get some wins on our schedule. I don't want
And
to play Ole
Wake
Miss.
is in a much worse position than Purdue because when the ACC falls apart, like,
Who are they? Are they going? Where are they
yeah,
going?
they're screwed.
Yes.
And so it's like those are the kind of teams where it's like you feel sorry because it's like those are the Wazoos and the Oregon States that
Right.
we feel a kinship with. Because if Purdue wasn't in the Big Ten, we
Oh,
would be in that.
Wake will
that
be in the
position.
Pac-12.
I know, it's just so stupid.
So
It's all
much sense.
so stupid.
Well, there's a lot of interesting things with the ACC that happen right now because Florida State was kind of leading that whole legal charge, and maybe they're kind of licking their wounds right now, saying maybe we shouldn't do this.
Remember they finished last in the ACC. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, that is the most delicious thing
It
so
would be
far.
so good. It'd be
It's
so
the
good.
best part so far. Oh, man.
They look abysmal.
So I don't know, but it's gonna be a suddenly high pressure weekend. Do you think the team feels it? I mean, like I think Oregon State opened as 4.5-point favorites.
They did. And the matchup predictor, for whatever that's worth on ESPN, has it 75-25 in favor of Oregon State.
I mean,
Oh,
really? Analytics depend on prior data, and there's exactly one data point.
Well, yeah. The good news is no one will be able to watch it, so no one will know what happened. You have to be in the stadium to see it, I think, is the.
I found a weird link. I put that on Twitter. I don't understand if live sports on CW. Yeah, I found that somewhere. I don't understand if live sports are on that link, but it's a free place
People
to watch.
responded
the
to
CW.
it and said that CW link
Doesn't work.
The streaming, they don't stream it, which makes perfect sense, right? Games on your network, but you can't stream it.
Right, you wouldn't want it. There won't be any commercial dollars that would come from that.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Well, you don't want to mistake.
No, you have reruns of the Gilmore Girls. That's what you want to make sure you're.
Well, I have
to the world.
Verizon FiOS, and I have the CW, so I think I will get the game, right?
Oh,
Because
good.
it's
Yeah.
Who knows? Even that doesn't guarantee it.
It's
though.
a coin flip. We'll see.
Right. Game Time at Albanese asks. I bet there are places you could find this, but this is the primary place to come is to our podcast to learn what time the game is. It is 8:30 Eastern time on Saturday night. So 5:30 Pacific. So yeah, it won't be sunny, or maybe slightly sunny.
It's a cool stadium. It's not real big, but pretty hostile. They got good fans there. I think they're very good fans, actually.
Ted Berkey says no one comes to see Oregon State. That sounds
That's
familiar.
true. What is that? What do they? What's that stadium's probably what? 52,000, 48,000, something right in there.
Yeah, I think it's smaller than Ross-Ade, but I don't. But it's
Yeah.
not Autzen, where Purdue has
No.
played.
No, Autzon's not big, but it's an incredible place.
Yeah.
The way it's designed too, they've got the sound gets pushed back down on the field.
We by the way, we could probably wrap it up because we just now got past the length of a normal quick cast.
Funny
I think we
so
praised
funny.
you enough this podcast. I think we needed to bring you down.
Yeah, exactly. Bring me down a rung or two. So that's fair enough. It's I was impassioned. That's the thing. Really didn't. I just wanted to get one thing out, and then it's like that girl's vomit just kept falling.
Yeah,
This has been the
perfect.
vomit hour, the handsome vomit hour.
All right.
Go to Home Field Apparel, enter boiled 25 at checkout. Get 20% off. Get 15% off.
Yep.
Get something off.
Did
Take your shirt
you
off.
guys make any? Do you guys make any orders?
I will be. I might, but you know what? I might buy a Purdue shirt and I might buy an Oregon State shirt. Who knows? I might try to tempt the karma gods.
Yeah.
I've always been on the fence. They've got like a dunking beaver or something like that. Like I needed that shirt, so I need it. Don't worry about it. Go Beavs.
Nothing like
Go
a Duncan
Big
Beaver.
Yeah.
I
I
need
know
it.
what that means, but
I don't know what it means.
it's true. But it's true. I ordered one with the old timey Pete. That's it's got the arch on it, arch logo, and it's white, black, and gold print on a gray sweatshirt. It's awesome. So, yeah, no kidding. Great.
I like it when we send a note in the private chat and respond. And says, yeah, no kidding. He's like he's new to radio and he doesn't know he can talk to his producers through a different thing.
No, I love it. Because that people in the margin are confused. People listening are even more confused. It's great. Adam Beasley has, I think, the best point of the whole night. I feel like Boiler Dowd showed off his range this week. I was impressed. Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, dag nabbit, literally every range of emotion. I was brought to tears at one point. I
vomited.
almost vomited.
It was everything.
Yeah, you got everything. We got anger. We've got
time with your family, friends,
whatever.
anger. Oh man, sweaty
Stuff. Isn't that's the old Jim Valvano speech, right?
Every
day,
cry.
and vomit.
I think that was it.
I was gonna make a seven dwarf. It's like you went
shoot.
through every one of the seven dwarfs kind of emotions during this, but I don't think there was a vomit dwarf. But maybe there is.
It wasn't like a
Pukey,
green
pukey.
face.
Yeah, pukey. Yeah, exactly.
Pukey.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh boy. Well, guys, been a pleasure hanging out with you two as always. Good hanging out with you in person this week as well. Thanks to everybody who tuned in live, and thanks to you who are listening on delay, on tape delays. Like I said earlier, hope you have a great rest of the evening.